I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. We are very lucky to have Richard Becker come on the show. He's going to talk about all the wonderful things going on in the town of Cortland. But first, I'd like to thank James Brooks and Joe Pisano for the wonderful work that they do here. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a show. So thank you guys. But I do want to mention that Peekskill Rotary Club has their 8th annual Cherry Blossom Festival. It's a plant sale. They're going to have food, music. It's at the riverfront. It's on May 3rd, this year, 2025. It's from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So please go check it out. And I also want to mention that the Peekskill Elks Club in Peekskill on Elks, it's on 1038 Brown Street in Peekskill. On Saturday, April 19th, they're going to have a soup kitchen. So go meet the people, from the Elks Club. It's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Two great things that are happening in Peekskill and all part of the community. So if you can get involved, please get involved. That's what community is all about. And, things can't get done without people helping out. And it's so important. And that really is what this show is all about. And please get involved. Don't complain. So, Doc, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Vic. Thank you for
Oh,
having me on here.
thank you.
Great.
So great. You know, you got to love this area.
I do.
I was just in Italy over the summer, this past summer. Today is April 1st, 2025. And I like to put that out there only because, the show airs and then it can air again if we have time to air it again a year from now. So, but just to put in perspective what's going on now. So what's going on with you now?
Busy as always. A lot of good things going on in town. A lot of exciting things to show that I think that make Cortland unique. It always is interesting to me that outside the northern part of Westchester, Cortland is not so well known. Um, if you go down to Chappaqua, Mamaroneck, Ardsley, where's Cortland? That's up north somewhere, right? And they don't understand that Croton and Buchanan and Montrose and Verplank are all distinct parts of our town. And even people, in Yorktown, that the Taconic seems to be a dividing line. They don't want to come too far east into our town. And yet we're really so unique. And, one of the things I was very happy about was in January, just 2 months ago, the town of Cortland was selected by 914 Inc. magazine as being the best employer in Westchester. And this is the first time a municipality received that recognition. And since a lot of our employees live in Cortland, they're living and working in a great place. And for them to fill out surveys and indicate that we're one of the best employers, I was phenomenal. So I love that. And, we have so many great places we're talking about. We have our cook pool, which will be opening soon for the season. And that's a magnificent facility. We've spent millions of dollars. It's really probably one of the nicest facilities we have. And Victor, you're so well versed in Verplank and the waterfront. We have so many things planned there this season that are just going to be wonderful. We have on May 3rd, the day you were mentioning in Peekskill, we're having our first town-wide yard sale. Because a lot of people mention to me that, they want to have yard sales. They don't want to sit at the bottom of the driveway. They feel vulnerable. Who's going to come stop by? And, and they feel exposed. So here people can come together. We'll have space up to 300 different tables where people can come, rent a space for the day. It's, I think, $20. And you'll have other people. You can go browse and buy more stuff. We'll have food trucks and we'll have music. So it should be a delightful day. And we have our summer concert series that's Thursday nights at the Verplank Waterfront. And that will be the same as in previous years. But in September, we have several great events coming up. On September 20th, and I know it's way in advance, but we have Hudson Valley Shakespeare coming. That's at the group that normally is in basketball and $100 a ticket. They're going to have Shakespeare in the Park free for everyone. And that will be followed by a laser light show, which we did when we did the ribbon cutting. That was just phenomenal. We're also going to have kind of a high-end crafts fair for the first time. in September, very similar to what goes on in Garrison and Lyndhurst, where we'll have over 100 different crafters. They call them, handy workers, or and people that will come, and we'll also have craft beer and music, and it'll be a real festival like for the fall.
Yeah.
So a lot of exciting things going on in town.
This is a hidden gem, which is kind of a good thing for us
Yes.
because, so what, they don't know about us. But, I was born and raised here, and, I have been all over the country, going to Italy now. I could say I've been,
Hmm.
in another part of the world. And there's nothing like it, really. It's beautiful. And it's that hometown feeling, too, that the getting to know everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
People are born and raised here and then wind up living here the rest of their life, which, is a
I, w-
wonderful
I
thing.
was I was born in New York City, in Manhattan, raised there, and didn't leave the city till I was about 30, and finished my training at the medical center, and never looked back. I loved Westchester, and I came to Hudson Valley Hospital as their first full-time cardiologist, and stayed, raised my family here. They went through the school district, and you become part of the community.
Yeah,
It's a very accepting
it
community.
really is.
Yeah.
So you're a cardiologist. Now's a perfect time. It's the spring. People are getting ready to start going out. There's so many great places to walk around here. Walking is one of the best exercises. But eating right, how important do you think that
I
is?
think, you have to talk in terms of a healthy lifestyle.
Mhm.
There's no one magic pill, one exercise, one magic food that's going to make you healthy. It's a lifestyle. I think it begins with getting enough sleep at night. Most people don't. I think it involves diet, eating a balanced diet, a little lower in carbs than we used to recommend. They used to have that food
Hmm.
pyramid when we were in school.
Now you got to turn it upside down,
Yeah,
right?
they say a little upside down, more protein, and that comes from fresh vegetables, and lean meats and fish, and exercise. And I think, Victor, what you're saying is starting out slow is very, very important. If you've been sedentary and go out, you'll just do too much, hurt yourself, and stop. And this is a kind of a turtle and tortoise type of thing, where the slower you go, you'll make more progress, and you have the rest of your life to exercise. So don't feel to pressure yourself too much.
Right,
Listen to your body.
right.
If you're tired, you're short of breath, you need to rest, do it. I know trainers want to make everything the maximum. I'm not aware of any data that really shows that, high impact exercise like running is going to prolong your life more than walking.
Right.
So just walk.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I think the important thing is to find that activity which inspires you to continue doing it. If you do something you really don't like, you won't continue it. Right now with seniors, pickleball is very popular. But you got to start slow and not get injured, because a lot of seniors get hurt playing pickleball. But there are, so many different ways. We have a very active Cortland Rowing Association out of Verplank on Lake Meehaw and on the Hudson, with, dozens and dozens of members of all ages. People start in their 70s and they love it. So whatever you do, just,
just
make it
gradual.
part gradual, and make it a routine and not a short-term thing.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not easy. Like I bought kale today, and kale isn't my favorite thing, but they say it's got the most amount of vitamins in it.
Yeah.
So I'll mix it with a little celery and onion and garlic,
Okay.
and put a little chicken stock in there, and I'll eat my kale, and I'll eat it while I'm hungry. I won't wait until I'm full and
Yeah,
then
kale
try
is
to.
a leafy vegetable. It's
Yes,
like lettuce, and it's healthy. But there are many, many healthy
yeah,
choices out there.
for
Yeah,
sure.
so
But it's if you doctor it up just right, you could becomes more palatable.
yes, cover it
So
with a little fatty salad dressing. Don't do that.
right. So do you cook at home much or
I don't. My wife cooks,
really?
and she's more of it. And we have a good division of labor. I'm the cleanup guy,
Good.
and and we try to eat healthy, but like everyone else,
I know.
time, and
Yeah.
it's hard,
Hmm.
but you try to always be cognizant and make good choices. Yeah.
So speaking of cooking at home, there's a lot of compost involved with cooking at home.
Well, this is something that I was working on today. The town of Cortland has a very active compost program. Compost is the breakdown of food products. So people don't realize it, but 75% of the waste from your house is food scraps. And that's really the word they use, food scraps. Banana peels and apple cores and skins of various fruits, and even meats and vegetables of all kind. Instead of throwing it into the trash, you throw it into a compost bin. The town of Cortland gave out over 500 of those to start the program. We still sell them. And it won't smell in there, or you can
Right.
do what I do is I just throw it in a bucket in the freezer.
Yeah.
And at the end of the week, you can drop it off at two different locations. We have one at the community center on Muro Morabito on Westbrook Drive, and we have another one on Memorial Drive at the youth center, and we're going to expand that. And eventually, I'd like to do curbside composting where you can put it out just like you do your garbage.
Right.
But 75% of that weight goes to is kept out of the waste stream because the garbage we send to the waste stream is literally burned, and that puts smoke and ash into the environment. This is turned into soil.
Yeah.
Compost is soil,
Yeah.
and there's a place right in the town of Cortland that has expedited composting. They have the equipment there that will turn food scraps into compost that's used for plants, and it's wonderful if you're a gardener. It's
Yeah.
called black gold, and
Really?
it's like a very soft material that you can use for planting. And even if you don't use compost, if you're not a gardener, you know you're doing something green. And the important thing is it saves so much money for the town because we get charged $20 to tip or dump a ton of food scraps.
Hmm.
It costs us $36 to dump a ton of regular garbage.
Right.
So every time these trucks go out, and we do 6,000 tons a year, that adds up quickly. And so it's green, it saves money, and it's so simple to do. We're going to put out a lot of videos on how to do it so we can make it town-wide.
Mm.
Interestingly, I heard that New York City, it's now mandatory that
Yep.
if you have an apartment building and you're not composting, you will get fined. We don't plan to fine people. We just want to encourage them to do
Yeah.
good.
So I'm in my house 20 years, and I always wanted a garden, and I finally have now 20 years later. But when I first started, I had a pile of leaves, and I flipped it over, and it was one shovel of dirt. I said, well, I think I'm going to need more leaves, right?
Yeah,
So the next year, I started grabbing all my neighbors' leaves,
yeah.
and then now I have Michael Deegan from Michael's Lawns drops off a dump of leaves for me, and I'm in the process. I didn't realize how many leaves there were, so
Yeah,
I'm trying to flip
it
these
takes the
over.
biggest pile and it comes down to this big,
Yeah, to
but it's black and it doesn't have any
oh,
odor, and it's great to grow things in. You sprinkle that on soil, and people go out to Home Depot to buy it.
yeah, I know.
So
So
here you can get it. And on Earth Day, we are going to give out free compost that came from the stuff that we
right.
dropped off at those two drop-off points at the community center and at the youth center.
Excellent. So you can go pick up some
Compost and
compost,
garden away.
mix it in for sure.
So you have to grow tomatoes so you can make your tomato sauce and then invite me over
I will for sure. Are you going to do a garden this year?
every year.
Yeah.
Every
What do
year.
you like to grow?
Oh, everything. I
Yeah, me
have a big
too.
garden, so mainly tomatoes and zucchini and various squashes. But we also do green beans, which are really easy to
Yeah,
grow. I mean,
yeah,
they can overwhelm you how
yeah.
prolific they are. You just get so many. And then fun things like potatoes, which grow underground, carrots and broccoli and eggplant and peppers.
Oh, I know.
So
It's awesome.
basically from mid-June until the fall,
Yeah,
we don't buy anything.
right. I know.
Just eat out of the
That's the
garden.
best. So
Yeah,
try it. You'll like it. Start small,
yeah,
just like exercising. Start slow,
mm,
work your way up. Just have a couple plants. Believe it or not, I get a lot of ShopRite. Has excellent plants.
yeah.
They get some from New Jersey,
Oh, is that right?
and they're
Yeah, and you can
perfect.
support the local places too that
Yes.
sell them. But to compost, you don't have to take it back. It's just a way of disposing of it in a smarter way.
Hmm.
That's in an environmentally smart way and saves the town money. And it's such little effort.
Yep. So the cook pool, you need a town card to get
Mm-hmm.
in,
Mm-hmm.
or it just costs less. You could
Yeah, you
still.
can, as a town resident, you're entitled to get in, and that includes all the villages, Croton and Buchanan. And you can sign up for it. And in fact, I'll show you, going to give you a scoop here, Victor.
Okay.
We've been working on this for about a year in-house. the town of Cortland has devised its own in-house um, application. It's called Town of Cortland 311. You can download it from the Apple Store or from the Google Play,
Right.
and it's for any phone, and it comes up like this. You can do anything you want. You can pay your taxes, you can go to the website, you can get our newsletter, you can get a pool pass, you can get a marriage license, a dog license, you can report a pothole. And what I love about this is someone sees something and they report it. Let's say a simple thing like a pothole. It goes into our work order system automatically. Our town will take care of it and send you notification that it was fixed. So it kind of closes the loop. You report it, you get an email back that it was done. So you can do everything in town business on an app that you download for free on either Google Play Station or Apple.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we are entering the AI era,
Yeah,
and
we found out that a lot of people in the younger generation, you and I would probably would just call the town and say, hey, there's a huge pothole, can you fix it? Now you report it. Everyone wants to do things on their phone.
yeah,
And, now that we have it designed and integrated into all our things, you pay your taxes, it goes into our tax platform. If you want a dog license, it goes right to the clerk's office, which goes right to the state. So
that's great.
it's all seamless.
Yeah. So I actually just went to opening day at Yankee Stadium.
You did.
And my cousin emailed me the ticket. So I finally got to the last step, and I couldn't. Yeah, I'm a little.
The ballpark app, yeah.
So I had to go to my neighbor's kid to have him finally.
Hey,
Oh, they have no problem.
No.
They're well versed in
Yes, yeah.
all
Once
that
yeah.
technology.
But this is very simple too. This is, maybe you need help to download an app if you're not used to downloading an app. But once you have it, it's just one or two buttons. It's going to say report something or, town events and things like that. You get it all in one place.
Okay, so baseball season's coming up. It's almost time for the camp.
Yeah, summer camp registration is open. You can do it online, of course, on this app now, but you could also do it you go to our town website. And I would encourage everyone to do it because it's going to fill fast. We're always at capacity every year.
Yeah.
We have 3 different sessions. Some go for one or another or a third, and some go all season. Kids have a great time. They come back year after year, and so that's
It's a great thing. It really is.
Yeah, and Little League is opening in the last week of April. I think I'm going from one to the other to the other. There's 3 opening days. Cortland National, I think, starts around 9, and then girls softball is here at Town Hall around 10:30, and then after that is Cortland American, which is right here at Columbinus Field. Yeah, and the town supports all these. They're community runs, lots of volunteers, but the town supports them. Make sure the fields are in good shape.
And now for summer jobs, what do the kids have to do?
They can apply online. We
Yep.
have, always looking for lifeguards. We're looking for camp counselors. We also hire seasonals for, older kids and college kids, and they're 18 and above to be summer seasonals to work in our highway and parks departments because there's so much more work seasonally.
Yeah, especially.
And it's physical, it's hard
Yeah,
work,
but
and you learn a lot from people who really know how to do and use tools and equipment, and it's good.
Yeah.
And so there's always a lot to do.
Well, the best part about this area is there's so many baseball fields. There's so many places to go. You could but they need to be maintained. And here's a perfect opportunity for these kids to get a job.
Right. We have a huge Parks and Recs department, and we spend a lot of time and money on I think 11 fields. So we maintain everything in house.
Now, we talked about the yard sale, but are we still doing the swap?
The swap will come up as well. That is an idea that I came up with many years ago, and every year it gets bigger and bigger. And last year, when we opened the doors, there were probably 50 people online waiting to get in. People take their stuff from their house and they bring it, and they think they're cleaning up, and it all gets picked up and taken away by other people.
That's
It is providing materials to folks who have trouble affording them, and it also keeps it out of the waste stream. And people bring in things like they'll have kids' books, and they're in wonderful shape because they read to their kid once or twice.
Yeah.
The book is brand new, but now their kid has outgrown it. They give them, they all get taken away. And appliances, I had two microwaves. What do I need two microwaves for? So people bring them in, and they get scooped up. It's a wonderful thing. It's a lot of the things we do. We also do every year what's called a repair cafe, where people bring in a light fixture or a lamp or something that doesn't work, a
Mm.
toaster oven, jewelry, all sorts of material, even clothing. And we have people who volunteer, and they'll sew things, fix jewelry,
Oh my
fix the
gosh.
lamps. Last year we had a company come in, did screens. I had a screen with a hole in it, and they just fixed it and no charge. It's wonderful, and it keeps this stuff that normally you'd say, "Oh, this lamp, I
I
don't, I'm
know.
not going to find someone to fix it," and you throw it away, and
And
it required a plug or a new socket or something, and in 15 minutes it looks brand new.
yeah.
You know, the,
Well, this is what community is all about. I know, a lot of the churches have these thrift shops, and it's, people drop it off, they make a little money on it, and people get stuff. I wound up buying some furniture at a box store, and it wasn't that great. I could have got a couple pieces of furniture from a thrift shop that, might be 10,
Absolutely.
20 years old, but will last another.
They don't, yes. Yeah. A lot of people, they buy the stuff that you put together now, and it's particle board, it's not real wood, and it just is not going to last. So you get it cheaper, but there's a price to pay for that.
Yeah,
Get someone's dresser that's 75, 100 years
I
old,
know.
and it
It
has
might
a
be a little
his.
heavy,
Yeah,
but
it's got, yeah,
but
it could
it'll
be
last.
heavy. It can have some scratches, but that's kind of, what makes it, gives it life. It's been
Yeah,
around, it's
yeah,
been used, and you're giving it a second. And if you didn't do that, someone's going to throw it out, and that's what a waste that is.
yeah.
A usable piece of furniture.
Yep. So these are all good things for the community.
Yeah.
And now, Peekskill, which is a beautiful town, the outer part of Peekskill, which was Peekskill, but then it became Cortland Manor.
Mm.
Now, when did that occur?
Well, it was actually the reverse. There was the town of Cortland,
Hmm.
and then the city of Peekskill incorporated
That's
as
right.
to a city around 1900.
Hmm.
And the town of Cortland surrounds that. And the
Right.
town of Cortland has all these different sections, and there are literally dozens of them. You can go all the way to the kind of the northeast into T-Town, which has a certain feel to it. The village of Croton, the village of Buchanan, Verplank, they're all unique. Montrose, they're all very unique. And Cortland Manor is kind of the central residential area.
Hmm.
And then we have our business district along Route 6 that's really become kind of a town center.
Yeah.
And it's, one of the things I'm very pleased that we work very hard on is backfilling stores, because with the advent of Amazon and online sales, almost every town has vacancies. We have about a 95% occupancy rate. And in fact, we're just, in fact, tonight they're before the planning board, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get approved. The old ShopRite, which has been vacant for years, will now become a Floor and Decor. That's a national chain, and they'll be taking over that space. And the old Big Lots became Little Kings and Queens Fun Place. So we've been working very hard. We got Ashley Furniture into the community. We have a lot of new restaurants that opened up. And so, the town has a very high occupancy, very low vacancy rate.
Yes, that's excellent.
Yeah.
And Sears, which was the original,
Mm.
catalog delivery service, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which is a great format,
Yeah, it
and
is.
Amazon, is capitalizing on it.
They're what's called a disruptive business, in that they took something that used to exist that you'd go to the store, and now, and we all use it. And so other businesses have to find their unique niche that makes you want to go there.
Yeah.
And I still think that there's something about going and seeing it and handling it and holding it. For this new store, Floor and Decor, you can go online and you're going to get that tile, and you can say, that's not the color I
Yeah,
thought it
that's not
was,
right.
right? But if you go to Floor and Decor and you hold it, and you can say, well, I like this one. And then you go home with a box of them. That's what you're getting. On Amazon, do I want to live in it, or do I got to
Right now, I got
return
to
it?
send it back.
But but Amazon has its place too. It's next day delivery,
Yeah,
and
no, I know.
geez, it's a good deal,
Yeah,
um, but despite that, we've been very successful, and I'm happy about that.
yeah.
Mm.
This is a great outlet for us to talk about the town, and what I wanted to mention was, what's going on politically and how people can react in certain ways. But what's your advice on being able to be civil and just,
I think that's it.
let's agree to disagree and
Yes,
just
I
be
think that's
civil
it.
about it,
Yeah, I mean, one of the hard things to do is, since everyone is so passionate and
Mm.
everyone is so tribal, I'm green and I'm yellow,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and you need to try to understand that even though I don't think the way they do and I don't agree with them, they're not bad people.
No,
They just see the
right.
same thing differently. And it's almost like looking at artwork. I see a tree and a blue sky, and everyone says, "Oh, what are you talking about? It's a burnt out forest." And so, there's always going to be that. But one of the things that I'm disappointed in is I think the extremes of both parties are what's hurting us, because I think 80% of Americans would fall into this middle ground. And the issues, of abortion, and the economy and safety. I think most Americans, for example, if you take guns, not everyone, people are going to disagree with me. um, I think that if someone wants a gun and registers for it, let them have it. I
Mm.
don't think you need an assault weapon. And I think most people could live with that. Most homeowners, if you said you want to have a gun, just register the way you would for your boat and your car.
That's it.
Nothing more, just so we know it. And I know the argument, the bad guys are going to have the gun. So if you want to have one, have one. We won't restrict you. But we don't need to have more firepower than our police do. And I bet most Americans would accept that,
I would too. Yep.
and then, an abortion, I think most people understand that if you wait too long, you've waited too long, and so there's probably some reasonable time frame where, oh, I just got pregnant last week. Maybe that's okay with most Americans. But if you wait till the, baby's almost viable, that's not so okay.
No.
So I think most Americans, if we had a middle American party and got rid of the extremes, we'd be a very happy
Oh, tell me
nation.
about it.
And that's how most countries are. They have 5, 6 parties: socialist, conservative, middle ground, economic, whatever. They're all these different parties, and the only way they get something done is if they pull. That's that. Look, I'll give in on this if
Mm.
you give in on that, and that's how things get done, and that's how it used to be. But now, every vote is 50-50,
Yeah.
because every Democrat votes one way and every Republican votes the other
Yeah.
way. And that every Democrat doesn't feel that way, and every Republican doesn't feel that way. They
Yeah.
just have to
Yeah.
obey the party lines.
Yeah.
So.
And it's all about mental health and just being, open
Yeah.
and honest and just not get so worked up about things you can control or
I,
can't
you know,
control.
I always view it as a pendulum, and that the pendulum is going to seek the middle.
Yeah.
So, if you go through, presidential history, you had a Republican Reagan, and then you get a Democrat Clinton, then you
Yeah.
go back and you get a Republican Bush, and then
Yeah.
you get an Obama, and then
Yeah.
you get a Trump, and then you get a Biden, and then you go back to Trump. It's like swaying,
Yeah.
and maybe one day it'll hit that middle.
Exactly.
And so, but so just ride it out. The
Yeah.
world isn't ending today.
And just worry about, taking care of yourselves.
And your neighbors.
That's right. Hey, I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Richard, for coming on. It was excellent.
Always a pleasure,
Always a
Victor.
pleasure.
Thank you for doing this. I really
Yes.
appreciate you taking the time and coming to me in my office. That's really
It's the best.
very convenient.
Get involved and be nice to your neighbor. That's all. Thanks.